great pass. What a catch!
My goodness.
What an amazing catch from Vicky McFarlane.
Highlight reel. Never say yes to the jest. That was fantastic. Sarah Tarkin making a push for home. This is 400 herself. 13 strikeouts for Gabby Snyder in one of the best pitching performances we've seen this season. What a fantastic grab by Emma Burridge. She climbs the ladder and breaks it down. Ground this up the middle, that's going to score a run. Bruin score two. Deep to left field. This is back, and this one is gone. It's magic from Madeline.
Good afternoon and welcome to Softball SA Premier League Round 2 action at West Beach. James Harris here, and joining me, part of the Spacequake Sports crew, Kathy Lambert and Eric Volner, bringing you all the statewide super special comments. Welcome, Kathy and Eric.
Thank you very much, James. Happy to be here. I'm stoked. Another season of softball is upon us, and it's a juicy one today. A rematch of the last two grand finals, West Torrens Eagles versus the Walkerville Cats.
Yeah, it is. It's shaping up already, just in the lineups that we've seen, to be another cracker of a game, just as it is all the time when these two teams meet.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one, and let's just jump right into it, I think, here. We'll go right into the game preview right here. The Eagles back at it again. They've been dominant in the regular season the last 2 years, but they just can't get across the line, and that little itch on their back that they can't seem to shake has been these Walkerville Cats. They've been all over the place today. The Eagles will look to get rid of that. We're looking at a couple key players for the West Torrens Eagles to try to lead them there. We'll start with Steph Trzynski. She was awesome last week. A simple way to put it in our North American language. We'll use that word a lot. Awesome because she was. I think it was 14 strikeouts in a 2-0 win over a pretty feisty Seacombe Tigers team. The offense probably wasn't rolling as much as they wanted, or they were stifled by a pretty good pitcher on the other end too. But Steph Trzynski certainly led them in all aspects in the circle, I guess, with 14 strikeouts, the best pitcher in the competition.
I saw her firsthand and she was absolutely sensational. She didn't miss a beat. She got a couple of low calls early and she kept it there. And Seacombe batters just didn't know how to react or respond.
Another one I'm looking out for today is speedy Jordan Lambert. She's playing shortstop. She's got great defense. She's actually still got a warrant out for her arrest from the South Australian police from how many bags she stole last year in the competition. Unfortunately, they couldn't quite get her under wraps. Not because she was too quick to outrun them, although she might be, but it was because she had to jet off around the world playing for the Aussie Spirit and representing the country. She's one of the best all-around players, if not the best all-around player in the competition. She can steal bags, she can hit. When that bat is rolling, especially at the top of the lineup, it sets the tone early, and as the away team, they're batting first today, so she's going to get a chance to get on early and often today.
Her leadoff triple set up the West Torrens' first run of the game last week, and it was absolutely key. Wasn't needed too much in the field, but when she got the opportunity, she was right on the game. We didn't see her steal any bases, serial offender. Let's go over to the Walkerville side, Kathy Lambert.
Yeah, the Walkerville side, we can always expect a really consistent team every single year. They've got great players in every position, and led this year by the return of Jessie Dreswick in the pitcher circle. She's just finished 6 months in the Italian League, where her team, Bosalego, finished as premiers for the whole league. So she's in really good form, and Walkerville very happy to have her back, and good form demonstrated by a 10-0 win over the Hills on Wednesday night.
Everything she's touching is turning to gold. She comes over, pitches to Walkerville a premiership. She goes to Italy, pitches her team to a premiership over there as well. Who has she got, Kathy?
Yeah, we've got Chelsea Robinson, always has been a great player for many, many years as a youngster, and she'd only be about 22 now. She played in the under-23s this past competition, finishing third with the SA team. So she's behind the plate with Jessie. They'll be a strong battery, and certainly make things difficult for this West Torrens lineup.
How much has she accomplished in just her short career? She was a national champion in under-19s, played at a junior world championship. She's been to the States, not this season, but the season before. She's played a season in Europe, in Austria, and a couple of the European Cups over there. She's a senior member of the Stars team. She's been a part of the Aussie Spirit squad, 22 years of age, and she's got a couple of recent premierships under her belt as well.
and you think a lot of that experience is just going to help carry the Cats. Although, if you take a look at their lineup that they're rolling out defensively today, it's almost identical to what it was on that grand final day. They do have an in the lineup, and Haley Benithan, who was not there. As they're taking the field, let's just roll through the lineups right now. Third base, Ash Merkin. Shortstop, Sophie King. She's been clutch in these games versus West Torrens over the last couple of years. Desi Giamorellis at second, and Sophie Roberts at first base. Chelsea Robinson, who we just mentioned before, is catching. Outfielder from left to right, Ellie Georgeris. Haley Benithan at center field. Michaela Robinson, as Haley is playing center field, shifts over to right. Pitcher today is Jessie Dreswick. You can see her right there on your screen taking the mound. She's who we talked about a little bit earlier.
The notable out from the premiership team from last year is Steph Collett, who played shortstop all last season. She had a year off of US college and she's made a transfer. She's actually gone from NCAA to NAIA. So she's going to go to Oregon State and play the season out there. So Steph, if you're watching, we'll say g'day from Adelaide and hope you're enjoying the west coast of the US rather than the east coast where you were a couple of years ago. But what a lineup. They've got young stars. They've got Ash Merkin, who was one of the finds of the season last year. She's from the US, but she's taking up residency here in Adelaide. Any other standouts in the lineup for you?
Yeah, well, they've got Haley Benithan, Sophie Roberts, Chelsea Robinson all represented South Australia under-23s this year. But and then following a great batting performance from that tournament, Sophie Roberts got a call up to the Aussie under-19 squad that competed in Irvine in California, finishing up with a very close fourth place, very close to bronze medal position.
At the Junior Women's World Championships. All right, we're about to get underway. Jessie Dreswick for the Walkerville Cats. Jordan Lambert for the Eagles. First pitch to be called by Steve Wallachero behind the plate. Low for a ball. Neville Lawrence, the World Baseball Softball Confederation Hall of Famer, and recently inducted into the Softball SA Hall of Fame at first base, Ian Gray at third.
And like you said, Jordan's someone that can really hurt you early in this game. I mean, it's probably priority number one, and it's a tough one for Jessie Dreswick in her first at-bat, I guess, that batter she's faced since she's come back, knowing that it's probably the toughest out in the competition. She gets on base. They're in a prime position to score just because of her speed. She gets her out. The inning just looks a lot less imposing for the Walkerville Cats.
Notably at the back of the box here for Dreswick, and got into a good hitters count and decided to have a go at 1-2-0 count, fouls it off. So good to get a little bit of a piece on it, trying to get the timing in early in the game. She's seeing 3 pitches early in the count. That's exactly what Coach Andrew Scott will want from his leadoff. Tries to go tight and inside, but down and in is the call. So 3-1 the count.
It's an interesting battle to watch because both of these players will want to make each other work for every strike or every hit or every contact that they get here. It's sort of a best-on-best competition.
Inside and gets her just off the base there. So one of the last South Australians to win. Ground ball to King. She's been busy. That's her third play in 3 batters. Again, making that force out to Gia Morellis, covering second base quite easily and comfortably. She definitely knows that side of the field. Sophie King's actually come into that spot vacated by Collett. She played a fair bit of outfield last season, but we know her as an infielder, and she's quite comfortable in the middle infield position. And
Sophie Hoyle comes out to bat here. The other, I guess, out that we should probably talk about for Walkerville is a change in their coaching staff. Sue Tomlinson had them back-to-back premierships. She steps aside this year. Karen Dale, who, needless to say, is a legend of the game here and of the Walkerville Softball Club. She is now the head coach as well. She's played in over 800 games, and she continues that reign as a coach. I'm sure. Will we see her suit up this year as well, too?
She's not suited up today, but I'm sure if there's a couple of unavailabilities during the year, whether there's camps or whether there's work commitments or injuries, she might be one of your first choice reserves for this team. Low for a ball. Interesting pick-off attempt from Chelsea Robinson over to Sophie Roberts at first. Interesting to note, we see Jessie Dreswick already up around about 107 Ks an hour. She hasn't lost any touch from last season. Might have something to do with the fact she was playing in Italy in the off-season.
Sophie Hoyle's second season with the club after moving over from Glen Elk, who are gone under a bit of a transformation. Glen Elk's lost 2 close games so far, but they're looking like they're a different side this year for sure. A couple players back. One of them isn't Sophie Hoyle, who stays at West Torrens in her second year at the club. Immediately slotted in the middle of the lineup and showed some pop. She can hit it hard as this is thrown over to second. Throw was just a little bit off the mark, and Kaesler and even Hoyle, all of them certainly dangers on the base pass, but Lana Kaesler has a stolen base and she's got herself in a scoring position. So a chance for Sophie Hoyle to drive in the first run of the game.
And with a full count as well, Hoyle will be looking to get after a real good pitch here and try and score that first run of the game.
And she lifts this one out towards right field. I think that's just drifting foul. That's a dangerous spot in right field for West Torrens and Walkerville. If you remember, a ball caught in foul territory 2 years ago that allowed a run to score on a sacrifice fly. And then last season, it was a missed throw from catcher over to third, and probably a moment when you didn't need to get rid of the baseball that gave an easy run for Walkerville to win in 2 different ways. Off of mistakes from the West Torrens defense. And again, the story is this season, can they shake the ghosts of a season past? This is game number 2 this season. There's a long way to go in about 6 months before they'll ultimately know that answer, but this is certainly an important one along the way, as they'll probably be against each other, as this is a strikeout right here on Sophie Hoyle. So Jessie Dreswick gets her first victim of the game, and after 3 ground balls over to short and a shortstop, Walkerville retires the side, as it is West Torrens versus Walkerville here in the first Saturday afternoon game.
A great inning, first up inning for Walkerville in this game, getting Sophie Hoyle with that strikeout to end the inning. No real damage done, but West Torrens were getting bat on ball, runner got on base, they were able to move one around eventually, but excellent defense from Walkerville.
Yeah, and getting the bat on the ball early in the game is really critical. We can see that Jessie's come back in fine form. She's pitching that ball hard. So the rest of the team and the current players that have already batted the first 4, they need to believe that they're still going to be strong against Jessie, and just being able to hit that ball, proves that, and everyone will come into the second time of the lineup, a lot better. So hitting it off to Sophie each time, it's gone to Sophie, but eventually they'll find the gaps.
Consistently one of the best defenses in the competition the last few years. They've really helped a young pitcher like Maddie Scott, who's no longer on the team because she's in America, but develop into one of the best pitchers in the competition. And it's because there's so much trust in that defense behind her. Now Steph Trzynski gets that luxury as well. Lana Kaesler at third, elite. Jordan Lambert at shortstop, elite. Sophie Hoyle at second, elite. Kelsey Nucky at first base, again, elite. You could probably put this combination down and pencil them all in for a strong contender to be on that team of the year at the end of the season. They just have some of the best on this team. And Faith Picard catching, and it'll be interesting to see how she goes this year. This will really be her first full season as probably the full-time catcher on this West Torrens team, not splitting duties with Carly Allen. And it will be Faith Picard's team to run. Outfield, Amy Wheeler, Alicia Marching, and Jackie Beal.
Faith is such an expert player in a lot of different positions. She was a jack of all trades over the last couple of seasons, filling in the gaps for when Lana was away midweek, when other people were unavailable for other reasons. She was just slotting in, catcher, second, third, outfield, and she did them all very proficiently. And this year she actually gets that opportunity to stand up as the club's catcher, and we'll be watching her to see how she progresses through the year.
Chelsea Robinson leading it off. Haley Benithan batting second. Desi Giamorales third. Sophie Roberts fourth. Ash Merkin and Sophie King batting sixth. That's a great spot to have Sophie King in the lineup. It says a lot about the talent that you have on your team if Sophie King sitting at 6, Alana Dale at 7, Ellie Georgeris at 8, and Michaela Robinson at 9. Jessie Dreswick is the pitcher. She has a DP today, which is Alana Dale.
Trzynski goes high for her first pitch, and Chelsea Robinson. Great to see her up at the top of the order. It is a bit of a change in lineups that we're used to seeing from Walkerville, but that's obviously an impact from the coach. They see things in different ways, and nothing to say there's anything wrong with this lineup. I love that Chelsea's got that opportunity at the top of the order. She watches that one through for a called strike.
And they'll be looking to capitalize on Chelsea's speed, if, getting on base, and that's obviously the job of the first batter is to get on base. And but she's very quick, so they'll be looking at opportunities to bunch her around and get an extra couple of bases out of her.
That's high for ball 2. So 2 balls, 1 strike, the count.
Well, Steph is certainly as good as you get locally in this competition right now. When you have a Team Australia player on your team, it's a pretty easy statement to make, but the question will be is if she has to miss some time because of whatever reason, some personal stuff, or whether it be an injury, and you certainly don't hope that upon anybody, is who is the person that will fill in after Steph Trzynski? She has a lot of weight on her shoulders as the go-to girl for this West Torrens Eagles side this year, but she had 14 strikeouts in game 1, but that one's crushed to center field. But moving under that is Marchink, out number 1.
Fly ball to center field, and Marchink took it quite comfortably in the end. Robinson lifted that ball, and then she got a fair bit of it, and I'd probably say that that's as far as anyone's got a piece of Steph Trzynski so far this season. It's only game 2, of course, and I liked what I saw as Robinson went off. She gave Benoithen a little bit of input into what she was seeing when she was in the box to give her a bit of an idea as she comes up to bat, 1 out.
Yeah, another opportunity here to capitalize on the speed of some of these Walkerville players. Hayley Benoithen also haven't tested this year, but previous last 2 years is second in the South Australian League in speed after Jordan Lambert. So, with 2 very quick players at the top of the lineup, you can see that they're looking to capitalize on some short play, possibly, or getting extra bases.
Now, Hayley Benoithen is known as a great young player, but she's also a great helper around the place as well. Softball SA Volunteer of the Year last year, and she's picked up where she left off in volunteering. She's helped out in both baseball and softball during the off-season, as well as playing for the baseball state team. So very talented.
She loves those diamond sports. She's certainly dedicated to her, and you certainly need more people in the sport like Hayley that sort of have that positive attitude and just willingness to help across the board. Kind of bad luck, Benoithen, though, in terms of the grand finals the last couple years. She's got 2 premierships to her name because she's beat on those teams, but being injured literally right before the grand final in both of them. And you just feel for her. You just want her to get that opportunity to play in the big dance.
Watches that one low for a ball. She also played state under 23s as well. So as busy as an off-season as anyone out there, and fills her time up with the love of the game. So, we all feel for her. We called her the hard luck story of the final series the last 2 years because she's missed out in the 2 grand finals and 2 premierships. Into a good hitting count here. It's 2-2, which is pretty good, battling against Trzynski. High, and gets her swinging, chasing an outside high rise, and Trzynski gets her first strikeout victim of the game. So 2 outs. Up to bat is the 3-hitter, Desi Giamarellis, over 10 years of state representative experience and a bunch of games through a number of clubs in the Adelaide club competition, including Glenelg and, of course, Walkerville.
Talk about consistency, too. Every year when you look down that stat sheet, when they start to accumulate after a few games, she's always near the top in terms of on-base percentage. Just great patience at the plate as well, too.
1 at the top of the zone there for Giamarellis, a called strike. Trzynski almost nudging the 100 kilometres an hour, high 90s so far.
Yeah, those are good numbers for Steph. It's good to see her back and healthy, and she had a really good season with the Aussie Spirit team over in America for the 10 weeks of the NPF. Took a role towards the end as a closer for the game and did a really good job of that. So
yeah, such impressive performance for Steph. She didn't go over for the full time. She probably only went over about half the time. Oh, this one's a dead ball hit straight into the foot of Giamarellis.
Ouch.
Yeah, just back on Steph and her season in the NPF in the US with the Aussie Peppers. They, under the tutelage of Lang Harrow, who can thumb him in himself, but then the big dog, Big Cheese, Andrew Kirkpatrick, the best in the world, joined the coaching ranks with the Aussie Peppers and the Aussie Spirit squad, and she learnt a thing or two from the great champ. Swing and a miss. That's one of the pitches that he helped her develop. The drop ball, the down ball that Trzynski has worked on throughout her whole career, but this one just seems to be falling off the table, and she gets a second strikeout in the bottom of the first inning, where we see scores are tied. West Torrens and Walkerville 0-0.
And this is sort of what you would expect in a game like this, sort of a hard tussle between the two teams and not much between them, some good pitching and certainly some good defense. If you take a look at it, it's really only an error is the only reason why somebody's been on base on a play where Sophie Roberts was a little bit off the bag. So there hasn't really been an earned hit, if you want to call it that. It's been off of an error from another team. So both teams have yet to record a hit. Neither team has walked so far. I mean, we've only played one inning, but all the at-bats have also been pretty tough as well, too. There hasn't been any easy outs when you say the same thing. So both teams going at each other pretty hard, which is what you'd expect from the two best teams in the competition over the last 2 years.
We've just got over a couple of technical difficulties, so welcome back to anyone who is watching at home. Vicky McFarlane watching from Costa Rica. G'day, Vicky. She says she's missing the Aussie accents. We mentioned Steph Collett. She's watching from SOU on the west coast of the USA. And Chris Kiefel, one of the best of all time. Just correcting me on Steph Drzezinski's strikeout pitch was a curveball, so thanks a lot, Chris. All right, we'll get back to the action here, and West Torrens will get things going in the top of the second inning with Kelsey Nucky. Jessie Dresick on the stripe, ready to go. Gets a piece of this one. Now up the alley, first pitch of the inning. She's got to turn first, holding up because that's good defense from Hayley Benithan and a great throw in. But how good's that shot from Kelsey Nucky? She got one right in the slot, and she drilled one out to center left field.
Defensively, too, though, from Walkerville, in perfect position to get that one against some teams that could have been a gapper, that might be an extra base. So that was hit pretty hard, and Walkerville might be pretty lucky to make sure that Kelsey's just standing on first base rather than in a scoring position.
Yeah, good cover by Hayley Benithan there. She read that off the bat very quickly, and limiting that to just one base was a great play.
Alicia Marchink squaring up for the first pitch to try to advance the runner. But she misses that one. It goes under the bat. So one strike on Marchink. Just noticing how good the new West Torrens uniforms look. Inspired by the UCLA College. And pick-off attempt. Nucky gets back in time. And a great take from Gia Morella. She had to get dirty herself there. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
So this is the part of the lineup where if the West Torrens Eagles are going to win this game, they're going to need some contributions from in Marchink, Drzezinski, Wheeler, and Beal. All of them capable players, but they're going to need a contribution from a couple of them today just to make sure that lineup is really well-rounded and they can add some damage. They've got an opportunity here with Kelsey Nucky standing on first. Nominee for the Administrator of the Year, Kelsey Nucky. Talk about another person that does a lot for local sport, in particular softball.
Not only nominated, but a finalist announced yesterday at the Sport SA Members and Partners Breakfast, along with Kevin Tannebring as a volunteer and his work on the AP Wildlands in the Far Northwest Sports League with the SANFL, and of course Softball SA for Community Event of the Year when we hosted the Under-17 Nationals. Piece of this ball chopped towards second base. Desi Gia Morales will just make the out at first, but Marchink does the job advancing the runner, Nucky, over to second base.
Yeah, big congratulations to you, James, and your crew. You know, continue each year, but especially the last 2 years, with finalists in the SA Sport Awards, and credit to you. You're working on a very small staff, and to be able to deliver such high-quality events and human resources in your sport is really a great effort.
Drzezinski aggressively gets after the first pitch, well covered by Sophie Roberts, taking a pretty good catch at full stretch as well. That gets by her. Nucky's looking at 3, maybe even looking to score, as Michaela Robinson's a right-hander out at right field. She would have had to run around that ball and would have been close at the plate, but a great catch from Roberts. So 2 out, runner still in scoring position for the 8th hitter in Amy Wheeler.
One of those depth players on this team, Amy Wheeler, who when you get those opportunities to get in the lineup and make an impact, you know, these are one of those moments where you can really show your worth right here and try to drive home a run versus a very difficult pitcher. Jessie Dresick would be one of the favorites, or early season favorites, I guess, for a nominee for a best and fairest if you take a look at the impact that she can have on our team. She's one of those high impact players.
And just a little bit of trivia for you guys. Amy Wheeler is Lana Kaiser's cousin.
There you go.
So some good softball genes coming through there.
A good family connection here on the Eagles.
Well, for the second inning in a row, West Torrens have a runner at second base. So it's important turn at bat here from Wheeler to try and advance that runner over to third base. See if she can score that runner. Had a good count, chops at this one. Good play from Jurassic, and she cleans that one up. And for the third out, a ground out straight back to the pitcher.
And you know they haven't scored any runs yet, but I think you have to look for small positives when you're playing a pitcher like Jessie Dreswick and the Cats as well too. Only one strikeout for Jessie, which means that on 7 of the 8 batters that have come up, they've got the ball in play. There's been 1 error so far, and there's been 1 hit. Sometimes in softball, you just got to get the ball in play, and something can happen. West Torrens have seen that happen on the wrong side of it when it mattered the most in the grand final, whether it be just a mistake on the other end. So I think you got to keep building on that a little bit, knowing that you are getting the ball in play versus Dreswick, and if you keep doing that, eventually something good is going to happen.
Great call, Eric. Statewide super special comment right there. Anything to add on that, Kathy? No worries. We can go to social media. We're in the inning break. That's where we're interactive. So if you are watching around the state, around the world, leave a comment. We'll try to get to you in the inning breaks. And I can see that Jamie Mead's watching from Florida. G'day to Jamie Mead, one of the state's best younger players, another player in the college system. Mel's watching in Berry. G'day to Mel, and it's opening round all across South Australia for the 2019-20 season. So all the best to everyone who's playing in Riverland and around the state. And Troy Purcell's watching from Queensland, who joined us on the statewide I'll get it right in a second. The Spacequake Sports commentary team for the Masters Games, the men's final, of course. So g'day to Troy.
Sophie Roberts leads things off for the Walkerville Cats. She is one of the leading emerging players, you would say, in the state. Big game player as well, too. She's had 2 pretty good grand finals in a row, and now this year she's moving over to first base, or at least playing there for today. I think she's only 18 years old, 17, 18 years old. She's one of the younger players in the competition, a great cricketer, but a clutch player in the big games and the big moments. She's come through with some big hits, both offensively and defensively, so we'll see how Sophie Roberts goes today, and she's batting cleanup. So what does that say about the trust that Karen Dale has in this young player?
Yeah, and she had a good, even as a late inclusion into that Aussie under-19 team for the World Championships, had a really good batting opportunity, played a couple of times on the field as well. So certainly did herself proud and did our state proud.
Commentator's curse in action right there. I'm sure you didn't mean anything by Kathy.
I'll not say a thing.
As Trzynski catches that outside edge, it's a terrific place to be. If you're a pitcher and a catcher, you always want those calls. And that one there works out in the favour of Trzynski, her 3rd consecutive strikeouts and the first of the second inning. Ash Merkin, the hitter for the Cats, as she leaves that one, and Picard just keeps the glove there just for that extra second, just to show Steve Wallace-Yarrow that she wants the inside as well as the outside.
You got to work it. 3 straight strikeouts now, though, for Steph Trzynski, picking up right where she left off versus Seacombe. And she struck out 3 pretty good batters in a row, but it turns over to Ash Merkin, an American who has taken residence in South Australia. Slotting in at third base, that moves over Desi G. Morales, who usually occupied that spot last year, but she'll flip over to second. And Sophie King, who played second last year, moves over to short. Such a versatile group, just that depth of the club and their development, and even their ability to find some players, really showcasing it here today.
Swing and a miss for another strike. It's an interesting point, Eric, that you make. An American that moves over to Australia to live. Port Adelaide's picked up a very similar circumstance, so we're looking to see them in action. That's Cara Tilton, who played in the Midwest college system. Swing and a miss, so Trzynski just in a groove now, isn't she? She's untouchable at the moment and gets herself right back into the count 2-2.
And this is something I was looking forward to watching this season. Steph Trzynski was working her way back from a pretty heavy injury last season, as this one comes in there, just hugs the corner. And last year, you could tell when she was getting in those early games in relief, she'll admit that she was nervous. She was a bit anxious about the starts. You could see how emotional she was after some of those games. She had some pretty good stuff. She came in relief in the grand final as well, too. And she had some great stuff in the circle. But this year, she looks healthy. She's confident. And now she's showing what she can do. And you can see just how frustrated she gets as she kicks the dirt when she allows her first walk after a pretty good at-bat from Ash Merkin right there. But this is what I was looking forward to, is watching Steph in full strength, full confidence, and just get in this rhythm, which we never really got to fully see last season.
Yeah, and against a quality side as well in the defending champions, Walkerville, just to test her early in the season and to see if she can pitch out a whole entire game. You mentioned it earlier, who's their backup? Yet to be seen, Eric. They must have someone locked away somewhere.
And you'd hope that walk was not a royal mistake for Steph Trzynski, as Sophie King, one of the most clutch and certainly one of the better players in the state for quite a long time, steps up. They put her in the 6th spot, and this could be just the contribution they need from the bottom half of the lineup, as Ash Merkin stands on first with the first base runner of the game. And Sophie King, another big game player. She's won a couple of MVPs in the grand finals as well, too. She just always seems to get the job done when it matters.
A big game player. Well, Trzynski with a runner on and fires that one in, so she's ahead of the count on Sophie King. Surprised that there hasn't been a bunt attempt maybe to advance the runner. I know there's one out, and it wouldn't go in my coaching philosophy to bunt when there's any out. But you know, Sophie King's probably one of the better short game players in the game today. Gets a piece of this ball. It's high, and this is trouble. No man's land. They should be able to still make the lead runner. It went into no man's land, didn't it? You hate to see those ones, especially if the game's on the line. But on this occasion, probably ended up the way that it should have with an out. But you would have thought that someone would have caught that one. But
yeah, you would, but that was sort of why you introduced something in baseball, at least like the infield fly rule, because it's sort of a tough spot for Ash Merkin to be on first. She can't really run to second, because if that's caught, they're going to be doubled up and the inning's over. But she can't really go. She sort of has to stay near first, and if it does drop, then it's just an easy little toss to second. Good throw over to second, but she's safe. Sophie King showing off the wheels with a really nice steal and a good throw as well, too.
Terrific throw from Faith Picard. It went right on the spot where shortstop Jordan Lambert would have wanted it, but it was Sophie King's wheels that got her there safely. She's also one of the league leaders in stolen bases over the last few seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. I worked with Sophie with the Stars team last year in the speed program, and she's right up there. She's quick, she's keen to learn, always asking for feedback on ways to improve her technique and get quicker. So, you know, she's a student of the game.
We'll just go back to that fielder's choice to the centre fielder on the previous play. There is an infield fly rule, but runners have got to be on first and second.
Alana Dale in the plate right now, the DP for the game. It means she's just batting in place to the pitcher. The pitcher does not have to bat in this. Designated hitter, if you're a baseball fan watching as well, too. Basically the same thing. It is the same thing.
There's a lot more flexibility in the softball rules, because swing and a miss from Dales, because the flex player, who is the pitcher or the defensive player, can come into the game, and you can also switch around the designated player as well. So it's not just a one-dimensional baseball-style DH rule.
But a good opportunity. They have a runner in scoring position for the first time, but when Steph Trzynski is throwing like that, there's not too much you can do. She just freezes Alana, and she looks at that one go right by her. Strikeout number 4 for Steph. She's wheeling today. We're through 2, and we are still scoreless.
Well, fantastic action so far from both teams as we see a 0-0 ball game at the completion of 2 innings. We're about 30 minutes in, so a third of the way through the game as far as time goes. What's been some outstanding for you in this game so far, Kathy?
Oh, the pitching duel has been dominating so far. The numerous strikeouts by both pitchers on the diamonds, but also limiting to some just infield hits or hits that haven't really penetrated the infield. We've just seen a couple. One obviously we just saw there, but also a big one by Chelsea Robinson when she came up and hit, which was caught. But apart from that, it's been a bit of a pitcher's duel.
It's been quite awesome. All right, let's have a quick look at social media. We see Jared Farrell's watching. He's in Queensland at the moment playing the Queensland Open Men's State Championships. It's raining over there at the moment. Jamie Mead saying all their Florida teammates loving the coverage. So g'day to everyone at Embry-Riddle in Florida near Daytona Beach.
The Eagles.
They are the Eagles, aren't they?
They'll be liking the West Torrens Eagles uniforms, I'm sure.
Jackie Beals leading things off for West Torrens. In the top of the third inning, before we go back to the top of the order for West Torrens, we'll get back to the social media in the next inning break. I want to make a special acknowledgement to Martina Roberts, who's watching in the AP Wildlands. So we'll get back to her in the inning break. So Jessie Dressick straight back into her work. She's 1 ball and 1 strike on Jackie Beal in the left-handed batter's box. She's shown over the last couple of seasons that she can go either way. That one there just chops it down foul.
Yeah, and had good success with both, and has been able to swap it back and forth according to the situation that's on the diamond at the time, and doing a really good job as a right-handed hitter and a left-handed bunter slapper.
Swinging a miss.
You know what? I'm just going to not make any comments about batting in the future.
You meant to do that as a commentator, Kathy. You call it as you see it. We can't help that the absolute class of Jessie Dressick at the moment. She is just starting to fire up, I think, and so West Torrens really need to take advantage of any base runners they get for the remainder of the game. Back of the top of the lineup.
Jordan Lambert, she grounded over to shortstop in her first at-bat, and then a bit of an error as Sophie Roberts was off the bag, but she did put the ball in play. Interesting to see what adjustments they will make going through the lineup for the second time, usually a bit more of an advantage for the batting side going through this. And Dreswick versus Lambert will be one of the best, and Lambert can do this. She can drop the bunt, she can use her speed, she can get down the line, and she can be safe. That is a tool that not a lot of players in this competition have. Jordan Lambert just lays down the bunt down the line and uses those wheels, and she's on for the Eagles.
Statewide Super replay. As we can see, she gets an inside pitch and bunts it down the line to Merkin, who's got a great arm, but not in time. And now with just the 1 out, we've got the speedy Lambert on first base.
And we've got Fade Picard up again, consistent batter.
That's all I'm going to say now.
Takes off on the pitch. Great throw off the knees. No tag. We see that fadeaway slide from Lambert. Sophie King probably had to take that ball on the full ahead of the base there, so she was forward of the base. Lambert saw that and was able to make that adjustment and take that outside of the base. First stolen base for Lambert of the season.
I mean, like anything in life, but especially in softball, you really have to play to your strengths, and that's just Jordan Lambert, some great recognition knowing that it's going to be tough just to swing and get away as this is off towards third as well. Lambert hailed at second, throw to first, and they got her, but what an excellent play to hold Lambert off at second as well, too. That little check just to make sure she doesn't go to third, but like I said, what a great opportunity or recognition from Lambert to realize, yeah, when you're swinging here, you're not going to get on base every time versus Jessie Dreswick. Use the strengths you have, drop down a bunt, get on base, and then use that speed to get to second and give your team an opportunity to drive you in. And with 2 outs, Lana Kaesler, one of the best pure hitters in the game, might be able to do it right here.
Yeah, terrific power from Kaesler, and if she gets one in her slot, you know, it could be on show here. The outfield, as previously mentioned, are in pretty tight, so if she gets a clean hit, Lambert will score easily from the outfield. If it goes straight to a fielder, though, there may be a tight play at the plate. We'll see if and when the ball goes into the field.
We said sometimes you got to put the ball in play.
What I have noticed, the infield is getting a workout here on the left side of the diamond. King got 3 plays in a row in the first inning. Now Merkin's had a couple of plays in a row in the third inning. So the top of the order are getting a lot of inside pitches, but they're still able to pull them. Not with power, but they're still getting the ball into play.
And with the 2-0 count, you'd think you'd see a strike right here, and you do.
105, so Dressick maybe have even taken a little bit off that one to make sure that it was a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike the count now.
Still in favor of Kaesler in this hitter's count. So you'd think that this would be a pitch that Kaesler is looking for something to turn on. Let's see if you get one.
Outside edge, down and low, and
Call a strike though.
cuts the edge of the plate. So Kaesler,
Really nice pitch.
2-2 count, really good pitch. It's almost an unhittable pitch when it's coming in that quick and precision.
And you could tell she wanted to swing at something there. She just sort of watched it all the way, but there's no point swinging if it's going to hurt you. She puts that one in play, and that's a nice play right there at second from Desi Giamorales. It could have taken a funny hop, but she just calmly gets on her knees, grabs that one, tosses it to first, and that could have been a dangerous hitting right there, but just great defense from the Cats. How about that?
Yeah, she held her nerve there. She stayed low, and when the ball just bounced up, a little awkwardly, she was still able to negotiate it and get across to the easy play at first base for the 3rd out. So halfway through the 3rd inning, and it is still a 0-all ball game. All right, well, back to social media. So we're interactive as often as we can. We would like to touch base with those that are watching from home. So Braden Dodd watching from Tasmania. G'day to Braden. And Pippa Atkins, one of the young stars of the competition, just catching an eye on her opposition. I mentioned Martina Roberts from the AP Wirelands Far Northwest Sports League, one of the most remote places on the planet. They've got a 9-team competition. They love watching on NITV, and absolutely terrific to see that they're watching from home. So g'day to everyone up in the AP Wirelands.
Yeah, and I know a little bit about Martina. She came down and tried out for the Stars competition last year, and wow, her pitching arm was so impressive for someone who's had, just main experience playing in the AP Wirelands, and credit to what's going on up there.
Another young player leads off the inning here in Ellie Georgeris. Really cool opportunity for her last week. She was on the mat, or in the circle pitching last week for a little bit.
Yeah, strike swinging there outside, but catches her swinging. I'm pretty sure that was her A-grade pitching debut. She's taken the diamond a couple of times, but last week she got that opportunity to take to the pitcher's circle. So good to see the future of the Walkerville Cats getting an opportunity. Game 1 of the season.
Yeah, really solid player. Ellie, she's come through the ranks with the development through the Dragons programs, the under 14s, under 15s, under 17s. Really solid all-rounder.
There's some pretty good young players sitting in this position in the lineup and also sitting on the bench right now that will be pushing for these spots. You got Ellie Georgeris, but then Bianca Ramsey, who's been very strong in some of these key finals games over the last couple of years, and then Ashley George, an interesting addition as well to the Cats this year. They do have some pretty good young talent that just makes the whole squad a bit healthier when everybody has to compete to keep themselves in the lineup.
Very good to see Bianca Ramsey back. She had a terrific final series for the Cats two seasons ago, then played state under 23s and had last season off, and she's straight back into the A-grade squad. So it'll be interesting to see where she slots into this lineup when she gets the opportunity. Swing and a miss for a strikeout, make that number 5 for the game, and we're only through 8 hitters in the Walkerville lineup.
Yeah, and this has got to be frustrating if you're on the Cat side of things, and everybody will have a second crack after Michaela Robinson is batting here, but there just seems to be not a lot of ways to get the ball in play. The first batter of the game flew out when a hard hit ball to center field, and then there was a ground ball or Sophie King had a little flare that wasn't really anything too significant into shallow right field, but other than that, it's been strikeouts and walks for Steph Trzynski. It's really hard to win a game if you really struggle to put the ball in play, but a lot of that has to do with the woman on the mound right now, number 17, Steph Trzynski.
One and one count. We saw Michaela Robinson over the last few seasons. She's turned into the best number 9 player in the competition. Always called strike on the outside edge. Always important to be able to bat through the lineup as well, and in this instance Walkerville do go 1 through 9. with Michaela Robinson holding up that 9 spot.
You're right, it is so important. That's why they call it the second leadoff spot, because it's times like these you want to have a player you can trust to get on base, like Michaela Robinson, to try to get on there, though she swings and misses on this one, but no hard feelings there because everybody seems to be striking out for Steph Drzezinski. But in that 9 spot, you can get on base. It would set it up for Chelsea Robinson at the top of the lineup to help move them around. But 6 strikeouts through the first time through the lineup, and they turn it back to Chelsea Robinson, who had the best at bat for Steph Drzezinski that we've seen so far. She cranked one to center field, but that was caught by Alicia Marching.
Bottom of the zone, and it was pretty much down the middle there for a called strike. Robinson just checking with plate umpire Wallace Yarrow to make sure that that was the bottom.
So the first time through the lineup for Steph Drzezinski, what has been so impressive about the way she's even positioning the ball when it comes to attacking that strike zone? As this is hit over to third, you put the ball in play and something good's gonna happen. That's off Alana Kaiser's glove, into the outfield, and on to first base goes Chelsea Robinson.
Perhaps off the end of the bat, because that's very uncharacteristic of Kaiser. It just tipped the top of her glove. Lambert was there to back up the one if she missed it, but not able to stop, change direction to stop that one going into shallow left field. But no, not too much damage. Catch a speed up rule sees Michaela Robinson replace Chelsea Robinson on first base for Hayley Benithan. Sorry, Kathy, were you going to...
Yeah, well, Michaela's quick as well, but I was just about to say a little bit of a dangerous position in terms of having somebody quick on the base and also in the batting box. So I was curious to see what Walkerville were going to call here, and interestingly enough, they did call a bunt.
I would even go a step further and say that that was a stolen base. Benithan was covering up, just couldn't get that back quick enough, because she seemed a little disappointed in herself that she tipped her bat right at the back of the box as well. So really trying to put that pressure on catcher Picard.
Yeah, and with 2 outs, James, that makes perfect sense. It was a attempted fake bunt.
And I know there's not a lot of runs so far in this game. In fact, by not a lot, I mean none. But I love these kind of games. You know, it just puts so much value and emphasis on every little play, every little pitch in this game, because you do feel like this could be a 1-0, 2-0, 2-1 game.
Piece of the ball that just goes over the top of the pitcher's head. Lambert's got a tough play here and makes a great out, firing it across to Kelsey Nucky for the 3rd out. So almost a little blooper that worked for the Cats. However, Lambert just right on top of her game here. Let's watch the statewide super replay.
Yeah, just to pop up over the pitcher there, and
Good pickup and hard throw over to Jordan to get that out.
Important for the defense to bounce right back here and make a good play after just a small mistake, an uncharacteristic mistake for this all-star lineup of the West Torrens Eagles. And again, I'll just say I think it came off the end of the bat a little bit. I'm not trying to go easy on Kaiser there, but at full strength stretch as well. Just to note, one of those pitches from Steph Drzezinski last inning just touched 100 k's an hour, so she's really cranking it up as we hit the middle stages of this game. As a matter of fact, we're halfway through at 45-minute mark, and let's go back to the socials, and we can see that Anne-Marie Hart is watching from Sunraysia. Maddie Scott is watching from Texas as well. Just a comment on the uniform, she's loving them at the moment, and we can also see a number of others watching from around the place. Vicky McFarlane just commenting on the speed trainings. Kathy holds great speed trainings. Everyone should train with her with a smiley face. So that's a credit from one of the quickest players that we've seen in the competition. So hello again to Vicky. Let's get back to the action.
Thanks, Vicky. Another great student of the game. We certainly miss you.
Sophie Hoyle aggressively gets after the first pitch of this 4th inning and fouls that one off, just tips it. And if she'd middled that one, that was a hard swing.
And she's the sort of personality, Sophie Hoyle, who just likes to take things on herself. You know, it's a one swing of the bat could possibly be the difference in this game, and she knows that she's got the ability to be that difference.
Leaves that one outside. 1 ball and 1 strike, the count. Well, you say that Sophie's that personality, likes to take things on herself, but you see Dresic, who's probably the exact opposite of this. She just goes about her business, unassuming. She's an imposing figure up there. What is she standing, about 7'4", and And but she just goes about her work, no fuss. She gets in there, she throws the ball hard, just gets on with it for the next pitch. So love the way she goes about it, Jessie Dresick.
And this is a West Torrens lineup that frustrates almost every pitcher in this competition because they have been so deep for the last few years. But you did even see in the grand final last year, in those moments where typically a pitcher could get flustered or a defense could feel a little bit of pressure, Dreswick just with the same composure, just like you're saying, and it makes it hard. Grounded over to second and an easy play for the first out.
Another inside pitch that jams up the West Torrens batters. So we've seen a number of those in the game so far. This one just dribbles over to second base. Jim Morales making a good out.
Yeah, it'll be frustrating, these West Torrens batters who are known for some strong and power batting, just being cramped up in that with that inside pitch and just not being able to really penetrate through the infield.
Kelsey Nucky has one of the 2 hits in this game. It was a gap shot that was cut off nicely by Ellie Georgeris in left field to stop it from being extra bases. When Kelsey gets hot, she can spray it anywhere around the outfield. She typically, though, definitely pulls that ball more towards the left field, but as soon as she starts opening up and putting that to right field, that's left, right, good night for any opposition defense.
Good cut at that one, just goes foul. So good aggressive intent here from the West Torrens Eagles. We saw the same or similar start to the at-bat for Sophie Hoyle, and a lot of batters going first pitch at Jessie Dresick, so perhaps trying to take advantage of one that they know is going to be in and around the zone. Absolutely down the middle there, probably unexpected on an 0-2 count, so Dresick just continues to fire bullets down the strike zone, and it's challenging the West Torrens hitters.
And just like you said, James, who would have expected that? I mean, that's the thing about a quality pitcher is you're not going to always do what's to plan. You can bring out something a little bit unusual when it's needed, and it's those little things that'll to beat your opposition.
Alicia Marchand grounded out second base to first last time up. This is a 2 teams. This is hit hard, and that's a hit for Alicia Marchand.
Up the middle, 2 out single. At least they've got that base runner on. They'll be thinking they'll be trying to build on that. Steph Trzynski is no slouch with the bat. She will often tell me how well she can hit, and I'll back that up as well. I've seen her in the batting cages. However, she's got to be able to deliver on the field here. So see if she can help her own cause here and try to advance the runner. This one's just a slow roller to second base. She gets after the first pitch, and Gia Morales is able to make that play, and it is the Walkerville infield that's doing a great job backing up their pitcher in Jessie Dresick, who's also doing great work. Only has the 3 strikeouts in the game. We see that Sophie King had the first 3 plays of the in the infield for the Cats. We've seen Desi busy with about 4 or 5 plays, and Ash Merkin with a couple of plays as well. Sophie Roberts, of course, in the action as well when there's a ground ball. So all infield playing their role for the Walkerville Cats, and they're keeping themselves in the game.
We can circle this coming up here as a key moment in this ball game as Walkerville huddle in front of their dugout. It is the middle of the lineup: Desi Gia Morales, Sophie Roberts, and Ash Merkin. There's only 40 minutes left to go in this timed game, and the way that Steph Trzynski has been rolling, if she can get through this lineup, then she's got the bottom part of the lineup to get through. So you don't know if this is the last crack that the middle of the lineup's going to have, but it could be. So if they want to make an impact in a 0-0 game, this is where they really need to make their mark, get on base, and start to drive home some runs. So a good opportunity with a good pitching performance and good defensive performance from the Cats. And now Desi Gia Morales, Sophie Roberts, Ash Merkin, followed by Sophie King, have a real opportunity just to grab a hold of this game.
And do you think we'll see any strategy coming in if we can get some runners on base?
Just to change things up a little bit. I mean, they're obviously having a few problems hitting Steph through the field, so whether they might start implementing something a little bit short.
Absolutely.
Try pull an error.
Absolutely. Again, as Eric was saying, get the ball in play. Let's make things happen first and foremost. So very important lead-off opportunity for Desi Gia Morales before any of those tactics can come into play, Kathy. And Steph Trzynski starts high for a ball. She will definitely be trying to get this first batter out. She'll be trying to get every batter out, but she'll know the importance of where we are in the game right now. Gimerellis, big hack at that 101. That's Drzezinski's quickest pitch of the game so far, and we're in the bottom of the 4th inning. So she is right on it now.
And that might only make her sort of off-speed and breaking ball stuff a little bit more effective, knowing that she can dial it up when she needs, getting into triple digits as that one drops in there. But it is interesting to note that the first time through the lineup with the 9, just one time they were able to get the ball in play. And then already twice in the first 2 batters, in the second time around through the lineup, the Cats have got the ball in play. So already those adjustments in that strategy, I think, Kathy, that you're talking about, make that 3 times it's in play. Jordan Lambert zips it across, just leaps across and makes that throw. Jordan Lambert, we've seen make a lot of those plays, but how much does Kelsey Nucky even come into that too, knowing that Jordan Lambert can have the confidence that she can just pick up the ball and just zip it over any way she can, knowing that Kelsey's probably going to catch it more often than not?
Yeah, we see in the statewide Super replay the aggressive attack on the ball from shortstop Lambert and fires it across to Kelsey. As you mentioned, she's comfortable in her place there at first base. She looks casual, but I can tell you she is right on every single play, and she's an important cog in this infield wheel that West Torrens has, and although she's been in the Adelaide Competition Team of the Year for the last couple of years at first base, she may even be an underrated player, because although the coaches who vote on the Team of the Year vote her in, she's unassuming, considering the other players that are in the infield that might take a lot of the attention away from her. So she's absolutely terrific.
And especially in a sport like softball, consistency is just so important. You just have to know what you're going to get in your lineup. It's really just a big equation and formula that teams are trying to put together, both offensively and defensively. You know you can put Kelsey in the middle of the lineup and what she's going to deliver, and you know that if you just have her at first, she's just going to swallow anything up that comes her way, because she just does an excellent job over at first.
Yeah, what I like about Kelsey as well, you know, with athletes, especially at this level and higher, we talk about arousal levels, you know, and needing to manage that to be able to sort of put in a good performance all the time. And, you know, Kelsey just is always calm and consistent, and, you know, you just never see that sort of high-low approach from her. She's just always Kelsey.
Reaching for this one, Sophie Roberts grounds out over to first base and Kelsey Nucky. So 2 quick outs to the infield for this West Torrens team. And Walkerville will now get to the middle of the order. Ash Merkin up to bat. Let's touch on the other games that are going to be played later today. Sturt versus Hills in Belinda White's 600th game. We might actually see an under strength, is that the right word for it? Sturt will be undermanned, we would say, with Maddie Cameron likely to miss this game just due to a little niggling injury, but that's the word that we're getting. We haven't seen their lineups yet, but Sturt versus Hills. Hills will be a much improved side with the addition of Georgia Hood coming in this week. They were missing her on Wednesday night.
Yeah, and the 6 o'clock game is the Glenelg versus Seacombe matchup. As we mentioned at the beginning, Glenelg have had 2 games so far this season. Only lost by 1 run, 1-0 against Sturt, and then 2-1 on Wednesday night against Port Adelaide.
Yeah, Zoe Connolly is a teammate of Steph Drzezinski's, and of course one of our favourites from last year, Katie Sutherland Finch from California at Berkeley, and she's a bit hard done by, isn't she? She's come in, she's thrown 2 games, she's given up 3 runs, and she's got 2 losses, and so I'm sure she'll be keen to get on the board for her Glenelg Rebels. Now, Kathy, you might have the inside word for us. We know there's a 3rd international coming because they've got their Czech player in Malkova, who's from the Czech Republic, so we look forward to watching her play. But a 3rd import. As this ball is going to go foul, just out of reach of both Krasinski and Picard. They both decide to leave it. Good call in the end, and it's just a foul. So Connolly, Malkova, and another US player, this one coming from UCLA.
No, this one also is a teammate of Zoe's.
I've mixed them up with the Port Adelaide US player.
Yes, I'll tell you
in
about
Grower. Another player from Cal Berkeley.
Correct.
Tori?
Yes, Tori Pogue. She'll be arriving on Monday. She's had to stay. She had a wedding commitment
in the USA, so that's why she's
A little bit later than the others, but she'll be arriving. She's finished a year ahead of Zoe, so would have been through Steph's years predominantly. And
Oh, well,
Oh,
that
right,
one just
okay.
came in at 102, guys. So a full count, and to try to end this inning, she's just fired her fastest pitch of the game in. Full count now on Merkin.
yeah, so Tori is a utility player and the best, and that's a strikeout. Nice pitch in there by Steph. So all-round player, and you know the bonus for Glenelg having some of these imports come in and international players come in with so much experience is that Glenelg are a young team, and you know there's a lot of potential in there, but unless you've got players around you who can help and support you with, you know, where the ball needs to go and what are some of the higher levels of the game as opposed to what might happen at junior level, it's beneficial having these players come in and support the Glenelg growth of Glenelg players, but also add a little bit of support to the rest of the competition as well.
Absolutely, Kathy. I could not agree with you more, and highly encourage more of these senior players to travel the world and give that knowledge onto these younger players, giving back to the sport that they've taken from the game and giving back and imparting that knowledge into the younger players. And you cannot buy that experience, and I love the fact that these players are willing to travel across the other side of the world to continue playing the game they love, but sharing that knowledge as well. And I think it's a key part of any competition to be able to grow and develop, because if you stay too insular, you're never going to grow. And so I love seeing, you know, Monica Perry come and Katie Bartlett from a few years ago, and now we see Jessie Dresick, and hopefully Tori can do the same thing.
Amy Wheeler on the first swing goes right to the right field, and Michaela Robinson makes the play. Amy Wheeler got a couple balls in play so far, so a fly out to right field to start the inning. Pretty soon we'll get through the lineup for the third time. Jackie Beal would love to get on base right here, although I think we are seeing an adjustment as we now have a, is this our first at bat right here?
Sure is. This is Melissa de Gree from the Netherlands, and she's actually a teammate of Bill White and Steph Trzynski. They both played a season each at the DSS club under the great Norman Amos in just out of Haarlem in the Netherlands. And although didn't come over to play softball, she's here visiting, and she just fit in a couple of games while she can.
Yeah, it's a big in for them potentially right here. And she has a chance to be a big difference maker. She gets on base, and then you can turn it over to Lambert and Picard. So this could be a key at bat. It's a lot different facing two dangerous hitters with one out than it is two outs. And she'll get a look at Jessie Dreswick right here as that drops down low.
Some quality players out of the Netherlands as well. So, you know, she wouldn't be it wouldn't be unusual for her to see that pitcher of the caliber of Dresick, but this one just fires in at 103 and looked a little late on the swing there, but she's probably going to be coming in and playing a lot of B-grade games, but sitting on the bench and supporting the A-grade in a situation just like this.
And she swings at that one and just gobbled up by Sophie Roberts, and it's turning into a very quick inning right now for Jessie Dreswick, who has found a little bit of a groove right here. There's been no moment in the game where anybody's got on base or had back-to-back hits. It's really been a pitcher's duel. They've just made sure the offense, and both two talented offenses, are completely neutralized. So Jordan Lambert is up to bat with two outs, and not really the situation you want Jordan Lambert in. You want her either with nobody out and she's just leading games off, or with somebody on base that she can potentially drive home. So this, if there's a time to face Jordan Lambert, this would be it right here. Getting late in the game as well too. This could be the last time they have to face her as well.
Smart call from Robinson as well. Just changing up the pace a little bit, 92 Ks an hour.
And she's been on base both times, Jordan Lambert. So of all the players in this game, and say what you want about the pitcher's duel, Jordan Lambert's figured something out by at least putting some pressure on the defenses, and that's probably what she does the best. She just puts a lot of pressure on anyone she's playing.
Dresick comes back with 104. So 12 Ks difference on those two pitches, mixing it up and high, but a strikeout called. So that is the third out of the fifth inning, and gee, Walkerville made quick work of that inning. There's still 30 minutes in the game. We could see us go through all 7 as we're halfway through the 5th and we've got a 0-0 ball game.
And James, how about some of the scores early season here? Normally in the middle at the beginning of the season, I would sort of expect a bit of rust from both the pitchers and the batters, a few more mistakes, and we have seen in seasons past some scores be run up pretty early and some pretty wild comebacks, but not the case this year so far. West Torrens 2-0 over Seacombe, Sturt 1-0 over Glenelg, Walkerville 10-0 over Hills, but there was still that goose egg there. But no runs allowed by Walkerville, so at least one team getting the runs there. And then 2-1 Port Adelaide over Glenelg, and here it's 0-0 in the 5th inning. So it really is interesting to see the pitcher battles that we have here. And even today, Sturt versus Hills, Sturt a great defensive and pitching performance versus Georgia Hood and the Hills. You can't expect that to be too high scoring. Glenelg's not allowing many runs, and then Jade Peterson back for Seacombe full time. You're not going to get much there. So I don't know if it's a lack of offense or it's just some fantastic pitching or a little bit of both, but it's not what I would expect at the beginning of a season.
Well, it's class teams. That's what it is. We've got 7 contenders playing in the Premier League this season. It was close last year. It was close the year before. We may just very well see the tightest season that we've had in recent memory.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, early season too. I think it takes a little bit for the batters just to get their eye in, and I can only feel that the batting quality will improve as the season goes on.
Pop up into foul territory and just gets away from the West Torrens infield there. Maybe a little more communication required. As Sophie Hoyle got across there, Kelsey Nucky sort of maybe that was swirling around. There is a little bit of breeze around, and the sun may have even come into play as well, but who knows on that one. Missed opportunity for the Eagles as Sophie King will lead off the bottom half of this 5th inning.
Second time that's happened, both times against Sophie, and this is going to be a roller over to Nucky, over to Hoyle, and out goes King. I was about to say, you hope that doesn't come back to bite them. You want to make those outs when you can, especially versus a quality batter like Sophie King, but they do get the slow roller and the out.
Well, we were just talking about the quality of this competition, and most of these teams are going to make the most of those chances that they do get. On this occasion, West Torrens were able to consolidate and make the out. Lana Dales watching that one for a ball.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking at a lot of teams across the Premier League with a lot of good skills. So the difference between some teams is just going to be who's going to get that 1% when it counts. And we saw Ella Forrester do a beautiful save of what potentially would have been an in-the-park home run from Regan Lambert on Wednesday night. It was a hard hit to the right field and heading down the right field line. And Ella took a dive from her right field position just to cut it down to a double. So just little things like that make a difference between,
There you go. Exactly the point we're all making, isn't it? Like a play that's not even going to go down or get recorded in the scorebook has changed the outcome of a game. And so that's a young player, just 16, 17 years of age, making an impact on this competition.
And who will be the difference maker in this one? Both the pitchers, as we highlighted at the beginning of the game, we knew they would play their part in the game, and they've lived up to the billing. But somebody just needs to be that person that strings together that second hit in a row or comes up with that clutch 2-out, 2-strike hit. There's going to be something in this game, but when will it be, if at all? Well, it just keeps on going for Steph Trzynski as she gets another key strike there. It was a 3-1 count, a chance for Alana Dale to get on base. Full count. Big pitch coming up here. Big difference between 2 outs and 1 outs with Ellie Georgeris standing on deck. Trzynski trying to dial one up here, and she gets strikeout number 8. So already 22 strikeouts on the season for Steph Trzynski. What a huge advantage that this is for West Torrens to have a local pitcher who can do some damage like this. And she's got 2 outs going, and she's retired the last 6 straight.
Yeah, she's definitely come in this season, putting it up a notch. Just found her way into the end of the season last year, said Eric, with a little bit of an injury, worked her way back, had a great season in the MPF with the Aussie Peppers, and yes, she's letting everyone know that she's back.
And every time you're around at the facility here, you see her working hard in the cages, plying her trade, trying to develop that extra pitch. That drop ball's been pretty effective for her when she's used it today, and she's ramped up the velocity all day as well too. She's now consistently getting it in over 100 kilometers an hour. She was down in the mid-90s to start the game, and it's just getting a lot harder. Although it might encourage a bit more contact as well too. But 8 strikeouts might suggest otherwise. Here's the pitch. And again, just placed perfectly, and there's not much that Ellie Drageris can do in that situation. So
yeah, I really like Steph's approach to each of her pitches as well. She's one of these real calm and steady on the mound, and just a real good thinker, and does what she needs to do.
Flies that one in just a little low. So it's a difference in each game as well, because you've got the different umpires. She was definitely getting the low strikes called last week. 3-1 the count now. Big opportunity for Georgiaris.
It was a 3-1 count versus the previous batter as well too, but Trzynski battled back and got her 8th strikeout of the game. She'll need 2 good pitches here to do the same. Wow, same spot, but this time called a strike. Brings it full either way.
We call that a makeup call. Full count on Georgiaris with 2 out. Still 20 minutes to go in this game as well. Swing and a miss. Gets the call that she wanted in the pitch before, and then gets the batter in a bit of an uncomfortable spot, chasing a pitch out of the strike zone. Quality pitching from Trzynski. Excellent calling from Picard. It's good to see those two on the same page this early in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. That young pitchers down in the count, well, not down in the count, the full count, but 2 strikes on her, and just putting that rise ball in there.
9 strikeouts for Trzynski. We've got 4 strikeouts from Dreswick, certainly encouraging more contact, but there haven't really been too many hard hit balls from West Torrens going the other way. But we're now through to the point where the next time we see these batters come up, it's going to be time number 3 through the lineup. What adjustments will they make? We've seen a little bit of an adjustment from Walkerville. They made contact once the first time through, and the next time through they've got 5 different players who have at least made some contact and put a little bit of pressure. West Torrens, they've been pretty similar throughout the game. They haven't changed their approach too much, but Jessie Dreswick just seems to be getting a bit stronger as the game has gone on. She is feeling good right now. She has retired 8 of her last 9 batters that she has faced, and including her last 4 straight. But Faith Picard, Lana Kaesler, Sophie Hoyle, this will be their last opportunities to make an impact in this game, so the time is now.
Yeah, terrific performance so far from Dreswick, and terrific performance from our Spacequake Sports team, bringing you the live streaming, all the highlights, big plays on the Software SA Facebook page, YouTube channel and Instagram. Catch all the action at home from the comfort of the couch on NITV and Channel 44, your SA community TV station, as Picard fouls the first one off in an attempt to try to get things off on a positive note for the Eagles. And of course that coverage is all thanks to Softball SA and Spacequake Sports. Guys, we're in just round 2 and I'm already pumped about the action. It's high class, it's quality. What's it going to take for a team to break away from the pack, so to speak? Because it looks like everyone is just so tight at the moment. Like they're bunched up. How can they be bunched up? It's only round 2.
It's only going to be, it feels like it's one of those any given Saturday type seasons that anyone can beat anyone. And you can already sort of feel it. I think the players recognize this too. I mean, the players pretty dialed in here. It has that big game feel to it. And they only play each other 4 times during the season. And a win or a loss in round 2 might be the difference between being in that top 2 and getting that extra chance in the finals, or finishing 5th instead of 4th and not getting that opportunity to even compete for that spot in the finals. So I don't know if there is going to be separation this year. I guess the simplest answer is you just got to win, and to win, you're going to have to score a run in this game. It's the first to score is going to win this game.
Keep winning. Good piece of the ball from Picard. It goes out to the right side, but it's foul. Michaela Robinson just out of her reach, and gee, that would have been handy for the Eagles to fall in, and sometimes it's the rub of the grain as well, isn't it? Like when the ball just goes your favour, you start to get the 50-50 calls.
Yeah, and I think in a competition that's going to be this tight, I think this is where the creativity and the thinking outside the square of a coach comes into play as well. Where you just start bringing in some tactics that at really opportune times, that may be the difference between a game win or loss as well.
Dressy gets another strikeout, and it was a called strike as well, so she's freezing that batter when she's getting up on the ahead of the count.
Well, a trend to watch because Walkerville, their second time through, made more contact with Steph Trzynski. West Torrens, as they're going now their second time through, they were making less contact with Jessie Dreswick, and now they've got 2 straight strikeouts versus Jordan Lambert and Faith Picard. So if you're just taking a look at little trends, which I guess is all you can really do in a 0-0 game, Dreswick might be getting stronger, and Walkerville might be picking something off Steph Trzynski, but it's still goose eggs on the board as this one's fouled away.
Well, interesting point that you make there, Eric. I've been keeping my eye on the radar. You said that Dressick's getting stronger. I think she's getting smarter as the game's going on, or Chelsea Robinson's definitely mixing the calls up a lot more change-ups in the second half of the game so far. Her fastball's got dropped down to 99 Ks. Two fastballs at 99 Ks so far in this inning. So and that one in at 90. So there's that change of pace again. So mixing it up a little bit more is working rather than just trying to blow these West Torrens hitters away.
And it really is going to be such tiny differences or mistakes between these teams. And could it be as big as a thing as a tiny difference between you've got a Team Australia catcher versus an unbelievable catcher and quality player in Faith Picard, but could that little bit more experience just be that tiny bit of difference that Walkerville gets them across the line?
Got to take every advantage that you can get, and Robinson, as we mentioned earlier, is just still only 22 years of age, is such a leader and one of the great players of this competition.
And there's a hit over towards second, and she's been pretty busy, Desi Giamorales at second, as that's the second out of the inning. And there's only 4 more outs for West Torrens to work with here. And Sophie Hoyle doesn't have anybody on base to try to drive around. So West Torrens running out of opportunities, which, yeah, they've been going at her. They've been putting the balls in play, but they haven't been able to get anything home.
Well, Sophie Hoyle has yet to fire a shot so far in this game, so almost expecting her to come out aggressive, but she watches this one low and outside for a ball. We're at the top of the 6th inning, and a 0-0 ball game. We do play time in the minor round of the round robin of the competition, so you know, potentially that could be the result. She's jammed up inside there for a called strike.
West Torrens have had a base runner on in the first 4 innings. In the first 3, they got the base runner all the way to second with 2 outs, but they couldn't bring the runner around. No base runners since that 4th inning, as Dreswick has just got stronger as the game has gone on. But there have never been more than 1 base runner on for either team during the game. Walkerville had a runner at second with a nice stolen base from Sophie King in the second, but that's it. They had a runner reach on an error in the 3rd, but haven't had a base runner since then either. So neither team has had a lot of opportunities to really score a run, and when they have had a runner in scoring position, neither team has pressured.
That one was fired in at 105, so probably the quickest pitch we've seen from Dressick in a while, but so she hasn't lost it. We know that she's got it in her reserves. 103 called on the outside edge there. That's that spot that you want to live in when you're desperate need for a strike, and goes to a full count on Hoyle. 15 minutes of time left in this game. If we start a new inning though, with less than 5 minutes, we will finish it. A walk, and there's that base runner that you were talking about, Eric, but with 2 out, it doesn't feel as damaging as perhaps a lead-off walk.
But you know what? Kelsey Nucky has hit the ball harder than anybody versus Jessie Dreswick so far. So if she can find that gap, or she can hug that third base line, when she's done a lot, this is an opportunity. We'll see if Sophie Hoyle has the green light to even try to steal a bag here as well and put herself in position. I think you almost have to put that pressure on there too and just add that other element.
Bit tough though when you've got a Aussie squad member and Chelsea Robinson behind the plate, and she's got quite an arm. So yeah, it'll be interesting whether they want to protect that runner or take the chance.
I just think that defense is so strong that you almost have to steal, and you can hope for a missed throw. If you get caught out, that's fine. I mean, I think you have to try to take your chances this late in the game. Instead, it'll be rolled over to short. That's off a bobble. Is she going to step on the bag? She isn't. So for the first time in the game, just as we spoke about it, West Torrens have 2 runners aboard and a runner in scoring position. Take a look at the statewide super replay.
Yeah, just out the inside there, Kelsey Nucky gets the end of the closest end of the barrel, and Sophie King may have just taken her off the ball right at the last second there. It just bobbles out of the glove. June Morellis can't negotiate it either, and Sophie Hoyle gets herself to second base. So Alicia Marchink, who does have a hit in this game, up to bat.
Now, do you swing early, or do you just have to, like, what's your approach here if you're a batter going against Dreswick in this situation?
Well, a hit came from the first pitch of her last at bat, and she watched that one on the outside edge for a called strike.
And she hits that one hard. It's going to be a tough throw across the diamond, and she makes it. Sophie King scoops that up, zips it across, and the Cats, in their biggest bit of trouble so far, get out of it quite easily and put West Torrens down to their final 3 outs.
Well, just after a little hiccup there for the Cats defense, Sophie King makes no mistake and gets that 3rd out before the Eagles can capitalise on a couple of base runners with 2 out, failing to score, and so we go through to the bottom of the 6th, and Walkerville will get the last opportunity in this game, but at the moment it's 0-0 ball game. They're at the 9-hitter in their lineup, and with 12 minutes left to go, this may be their last chance. However, if West Torrens can get 3 quick outs, we'll go to the 7th.
Yeah, and we've got Walkerville coming to the top of the lineup. Michaela Robinson starting them off. She's no slouch in the batting box, followed by Sister Chelsea and Hayley Benithan after that. So, you know, good opportunity for them to try and take this game. Some
quality hitters to come. Thanks to everyone who's been watching at home on our Facebook live streaming, and that is brought to you by Spacequake Sports, MC Sports, we're statewide super, and all of our broadcast partners. I can see that Chris Taylor's watching from the Riverland, good friend of ours, and mine, watching from the Riverland. G'day, Chris.
One more wrinkle in this game, though, James, is there's only 6 minutes left before no new innings can be played. So Walkerville, if they score a run, that's probably going to be it, because it'll take a little bit of time to get that run across the board. If they get their 3 outs but take too long to do it, this game's just going to end in a 0-0 draw, because there'll be no new innings. If it's 3 quick outs, we keep going on. So there's a lot at play right here in terms of even some gamesmanship that might happen. Either way, Walkerville just need to score a run.
Walkerville in the box seat at the moment as we watch this pitch go through, and swing and a miss from Robinson just off of that one there, a low lifter. Yeah, Walkerville in the box seat because they've got 6 outs to play with, right, maximum. They've got 3 minimum, whereas West Torrens, it's out of their hands now at the moment. They've got to make 3 outs,
and
otherwise they don't get an opportunity. Walkerville's got the last opportunity. Strike out, catches the outside edge once again from Trzynski.
10.
Made that 10 strikeouts for the game in 5 1/3 pitching innings.
What a performance against such a quality team.
24 strikeouts, and we're not even through the second complete game here for Steph Trzynski. This is fun to watch.
Well, we saw a Cal Bear put on a pitching performance about this time last year. 18 batters for 18 strikeouts, and we're watching another strong pitcher out of California. This one's homegrown though, best South Australian pitching product that we've seen, definitely currently playing, but maybe even for the modern era.
Yeah, and she's got a lot more pages to write in the Trzynski story here.
She's also only very young. She don't 22.
It's crazy to think about. A lot more to come for her.
Actually, she's born in January. She may be 23. So,
Whoa.
23. We're just getting the signal from Marcy to our left, scoring the game, part of the Soppel SA scoring team. So, special thanks to those guys. They'll be bringing you all the statistics during our broadcast as the season progresses.
Well, one stat so far is 10 strikeouts and 24 on the season, and she can run it up to 25 versus a fellow Aussie Spirit team member in Chelsea Robinson here, working against the clock to give her team another opportunity. She probably needs this strikeout here. And it goes down low, a walk. And that is, yeah, Steph needs to be efficient here just to give her the bats another opportunity to score that run for her.
Yeah, it needs to work quick, and going to a full count's not going to go in their favour. However, we'll see how we go up against Robinson. A mouth-watering battle here as she pieces this one to Lana Kaiser. A couple of quick pumps into the glove and firing it across to Nucky over at first base. So 2 quick outs, and a third will see us go to a 7th. But Hayley Benithan is no easy out. She had a great piece of the ball on Wednesday night, contributed to their team's 10-run win over the Hills Heat, who are in action next. They take on the Sturt Falcons in the 4 o'clock game.
We should note the clock that you see there on the left side of your screen is mostly accurate. It's not the official clock that the umpires have, but it'll be pretty darn close.
Trzynski fired that one in at 102, so she is getting better as the game's going on.
Hayley Benithan 0 for 2. She grounded out in her last at-bat. She struck out in the first inning.
And that variety that Trzynski brings, that one was fired in, but only at 97, so a different pitch, comes in at a different speed, and so that variance is obviously playing a factor in the Walkerville lineup because of the 10 strikeouts that she's had so far.
Yeah, works that one on the outside that time, low and outside, seeing if she can pick something up from her there.
Some interesting onlookers just to our left over there. We see the Port Adelaide and Sturt head coaches watching on as they watch this, I was going to say top of the table clash. They're both undefeated.
Well, certainly you could call it that if you're looking at the last 2 grand finals between these teams, and those 2 grand finals have come down to the final innings, both of them, and we're in the same situation right here. There is not much separating these 2 teams. The Cats will tell you there's 2 premierships. That is the separation, but they've become by fine margins, and Steph Trzynski will send it to 7 with another strikeout.
Well, just in the nick of time as well, I think. I reckon
they've called time.
It's a nil draw. In soccer, we may have gone to penalties or hockey. Did I say that right? What a game that we just saw. West Torrens versus Walkerville, a 0-all draw. So they both remain undefeated, but Sturt and Port both have an opportunity to go ahead of these teams because they're also undefeated. So guys, as we just take that in, we were preparing ourselves to go in for a 7th. Let's have a look at some of the statewide super performances of the game.
Look, I'm going to start. I mean, it's easy to say Steph Trzynski and it's easy to say Jessie Dreswick, but I'm going to say Desi Giamorales for Walkerville, only because a lot of balls were hit over her direction in second base. And in a game that was 0-0, it might have been a little mistake that made the biggest difference. And especially in the last half of the game, Desi was calm, she was cool, and she made a lot of easy plays over to first. And it was plays that you just had to make. And you can't win a game if your defense isn't performing. And West Torrens put the ball into play a lot more than not. So that's why I'm going to give it to Desi, because for me, giving it to the pitchers is too easy.
Yeah, and I'm going to go to the other side of the pitchers. I can't separate the 2 catchers, but gee, they did a good job. And assuming they're making the calls on the plays, you know, what a great job both of them did to limit the amount of quality hits out of the batters. Or let's be honest, hits out of the batters.
Well, if we do have a look at the Walkerville lineup, I can see a walk, but no hits. Chelsea Robertson got on from an error from third base. So Trzynski in 2 games has thrown 24 strikeouts and just 1 hit and none against the reigning premier Walkerville Cats. I'm going to go with Trzynski. If you're going to go Trzynski, you're probably going to say Dreswick would be a very close second. She did give up a couple of hits. We saw Kelsey Nucky drive one to the outfield. Alicia Marchenk had an outfield hit, and Jordan Lambert a running bunt. So great defensive performance from both teams. You need to score runs to win games, though. So again, touching on your point, Eric, from the scores that we've seen so far in this game, 1-0, 2-1, 2-0. Now we've seen a 0-all draw. There is nothing separating these teams, and you know, your hitters are going to play such a massive part of this season. So we do need more hitters to stand up in this game. I'm going to go with both pitchers. Guys, just a quick preview of the games to come. Impossible to call from now, but I'm going to ask you for a tip here between Sturt and Hills.
I'll say Sturt win 3-1 off of a 2-run home run from Belinda White in the 4th inning.
In her 600th
In her
game.
600th
Bit
game.
like Maddie Cameron did in her 400.
Yeah.
So it's the moment to do it. And I'm going to choose Glenelga Seacombe. They've been so close the last 2 games. I think they're going to go in there hungry. Yeah, so I'm going to give it, maybe let's call it a 3-1 win.
Well, I think you're both wrong. It's going to be 0-0 draws the whole day.
No runs. No fun, no runs.
Look, guys, thanks so much for joining us at home. We very much appreciate everyone who's watching from our Facebook page, Instagram channel, and YouTube channel and Instagram page as well. Perhaps you're watching on NITV or on Channel 44. It's all thanks to our broadcast partners, MC Sportswear Statewide Super. We'll wrap it up here, guys. We saw a 0-0 ball game. Any final and closing comments?
It's going to be a tight one.
I'm with you on that one, Eric.
Well, guys, thanks very much for joining us, and we will see you next Saturday at 2 o'clock right here on the Softball SA Premier League, right here on Spacequake Sports. Good afternoon.